Yo, how's it going everyone? It's me, Arctic. Today's video, I'm going to be going over a complete weapons guide for the new 2.1 weapons. I'm basically going to be talking about all these weapons stats, kind of generally their passives, what they're good with. This is going to be very general. I'm just basically reading over the Honey Hunter impact information and then giving my general impressions on it. Generally trying to inform you guys about these weapons in terms of what they do and generally why they are good. But if you are new to the channel, remember to subscribe. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. Anyway, let's get back to the video. So this right here is Grasscutter's Light. This is going to be a new polearm on the 2.1 weapon banner. And I'm actually pretty excited for this because this is going to be Ball's specific weapon. They generally build these to be best in slots for each of the characters. However, there are still other options. You can still run a Serpent Spine if you have one. Half of Homa is still a very good weapon in general. There's definitely going to be some competition between the other weapons. They don't just automatically power creep. But this weapon is going to be very nice on Raiden Shogun. It has an energy recharge substat right here of 55. And then it has a 608 base attack. And so its passive also increases your attack based on 28% of your energy recharge over the base 100. And you can get a maximum bonus of 80% attack. And you also gain 30 energy recharge for 12 seconds after using Elemental Burst. So this is going to be very good on characters and Raiden Shogun that basically are going to benefit very good from energy recharge as a substat. Shangling is one that I think could definitely benefit from this. Rosaria is one that could benefit from this as well. Because you're basically focusing on keeping your burst up, Overall, I think this is definitely going to be a mixture between actual damage and then also other things. It'd be nice since 4-piece emblem set is actually going to work on Raiden Shogun's auto attacks now. So pretty much you can able to build a little bit higher energy recharge than you were before. I think 300% is what you're going to try to shoot for as the upper threshold for your actual energy recharge. Just make sure you guys don't forget about your attack percent and also crit stats. The nice thing about this weapon right here is because it basically is going to balance out your attack percent, based on your energy recharge, which is going to factor pretty nicely, especially also since you're also going to be gaining electro damage percent from Ball's conversion ratio between energy recharge and electro damage. Weapon right here is the Catch, and this is going to be a 4-star weapon that's going to be in 2.1. And now I don't know if this is going to be an event-specific weapon completely. However, it is pretty likely considering that its passive is basically the same as a Festering Desire. It gives you increased elemental burst damage by 32%, and elemental burst crit rate by 12%. And I was recommending this weapon beforehand for just the initial slash of her burst, but now since her whole burst auto attacks also factor in with elemental burst damage, I think this is probably going to be the best in slot for free-to-play users. Or you can still use Blackcliff Polearm if you are using a 4-star. Deathmatch is also still a good option. But basically you're wanting to balance out the amount of damage bonus that you're losing from using this weapon versus the Blackcliff Polearm. Blackcliff Polearm gives you 55% crit damage, and as long as you're critting, you're getting 55% more damage. However, with this, you're constantly getting 32% more damage, and you're also increasing that elemental burst crit rate. So I feel this one is still gonna end up being better. In addition to that, its energy recharge substat is basically giving you a good amount of energy recharge to give you more electro damage. And it generally works out very nicely on Ball and other characters. This weapon's only downside is if you are trying to run Ball as a sub DPS, so using mostly just her elemental skill. I've already got a sub DPS build guide for Ball, covering their best sub DPS sets, that kind of stuff already made. And right here is going to be the Fish Sword, and yeah, so Fish Sword, yay. In terms of its base stats, this is basically 454 base attack, 55% attack when you gain that on Ascension. Then its passive right here, increase your elemental burst damage by 12%. When elemental burst hits opponents, there's a 100% chance of summoning a Titanic Tuna that charges and deals 100% of attack damage as AoE damage. Now this passive basically is the same as Prototype Archaic, however this does have this elemental burst increased damage. So I think this will be a little bit better than Archaic if you are early game or end game if you are just using this whatever character is a burst support. This could work nice. It could work nice with Beidou as well. However, I think attack percent and the slow base attack don't really factor in very nicely once you get to like a late game where like prototype archaic's base attack is going to outperform this in terms of like actual base stats you're going to be gaining. I think this weapon is like still a viable choice for like several characters. Like Beto, it could be a possibility for. And then like even Diluc, you could potentially use this for like early game if you are going for like a like more burst support, I would say, build, because you can definitely use his burst pretty much every 15 seconds if you wanted. Go for like some melt reactions or like just some good like DPS from his burst. It definitely has some potential. So this weapon right here is going to be a new 4-star bow, and this one is going to be Aloy's specific weapon. I don't think it's necessarily her best in slot, however, it is going to be a free weapon. You can only use it on the PlayStation Network, so you can't use it on like PC, you can't use it on mobile. But when you deal cryo damage to opponents, it increases the character's normal and charge attack damage by 10% for 6 seconds. This effect can have a maximum of 2 stacks, so effectively, you're getting a extra 20% normal and charge attack damage bonus. This also has a 510 base attack, 41% attack, so it's basically going to be the same as like a Rust or a prototype Crescent in terms of its base stat right there. Downside of this passive right here is that it's basically only used for like main DPS Aloy, like using her auto attacks. Her auto attacks are going to be strong, however, I'm personally going to run Aloy as more of a burst support, like burst DPS using her elemental skill. Her elemental skill is very similar to Klee's actually. And then also her burst is on a pretty low cooldown in terms of its energy cost. And so you can definitely trigger a lot of reactions if you are using her as your primary like burst support. And I think this bow really just isn't in general that great on Aloy, even if you are using this on PlayStation. I guess this would be fine early game if you don't have any other better options, but just like with the Sword of Dissension, as soon as you get like some of the other options that are actually in the game, it just becomes irrelevant. Like, the last weapon I'm going to be talking about is the Diamond Visage. This one is the one basically for Kokomi. This is basically Kokomi's 5-star weapon. And yeah, this comes with a base attack of 608, HP 49%. The HP is really nice because it's basically going to factor in with like Kokomi's like E-spell scaling, also her healing. And so I think it's definitely a pretty decent option if you are going for that. But it's passive right here, healing bonus increased by 10%, normal attack damage is increased by 1% of max HP, and then for 12 seconds after you use the burst, normal attacks basically restore some energy, and that can occur every 0.1 seconds. So what this passive right here effectively is for like main DPS Kokomi, or like swap in DPS when you DPS with like your burst up, something like that, because this is basically only focuses on like her auto attacks in terms of her actual damage. Her auto attacks are going to be pretty nice though, and so I think that'll definitely be pretty good. This also could possibly be used on like a Barbara, I would say, if you are using like Barbara for like charge attack damage. But it just says normal attack damage right here, so that's going to be yikes. If you are going like normal auto attack damage DPS Barbara, I guess so. Well, I just wanted to cover these weapons a little bit. I actually did go over these weapons before, like back when they were initially leaked. However, like that video, I was very scared of it getting taken down because I was showing like images of the actual like weapons themselves. So this time I didn't do that. And yeah, we've got a new video for you guys out right now. Enjoyed the video. It's been me, Arctic. I will see you guys in the next one. Farewell.